Xinjiang, just before dawn. We are en route to the site of what's thought to be a new detention facility for Uyghur Muslims. But we've been stopped at a police checkpoint. Other vehicles are let through, but it seems we are not welcome here. Our team is questioned at length and then turned back. Over the past few years, China has been building hundreds of secure camps across this vast desert region. More than 1 million Uyghurs, Kazakhs and other Muslim minorities are thought to have been detained. Targeted human rights groups say for their distinct ethnicity, culture and faith. We've come to Xinjiang to report on what China calls its vocational training centres, which the government says have now closed. But new research shows more facilities are still being built here. So we set out to visit some of these sites to find out what's really going on. This facility was showcased to the media a year ago, but something's changed. We try another known location, which also welcomed observers in last year. Hundreds of discarded bunk beds are piled up outside. So this huge facility here, we've been told, is just an ordinary school. But if you look, you can see that there are bars on the windows from the top floor all the way down to the bottom. And every time we try to film, they've told us that we're not allowed to film here. Nearby, a man dressed in camouflage appears and orders us to leave the area immediately. We move along to where there seems to be new building work going on, and we're shut down once more. We're told to go and then escorted away by security guards. Wherever we try to ask questions, it's the same story. This satellite image, taken south of Kashgar, shows one of the many new suspected detention facilities. Behind the imposing facade, a walled complex containing at least 12 multi-storey concrete accommodation blocks and surrounded by what appear to be security roads and watchtowers. So we're on the ground trying to get a closer look. This one facility can hold more than 10,000 people.
Oh, yes, there are bars.
Are there bars? Oh, there's a watchtower behind. Almost hidden away from view, you can make out 3 guard towers. We can't stop to film it properly. By this time, we're being tailed by multiple cars full of secret police.
Okay, so let's do a U-turn.
That evening, uniformed police turn up at our hotel with some officials. They make us delete some of the footage we've taken. What of the people here? The long beards, once traditional in Kashgar, have gone. The veils banned too. We find the famous Idkar Mosque open again after the pandemic, but only for tourists, not for prayer. It is still standing, unlike thousands of other religious sites razed to the ground in recent years. After a harsh virus lockdown, we're the first journalists to visit for months. But here too we are kept under constant surveillance, both high-tech and less so. With the state watching our every move, people here know talking to us could put them in serious danger. And so they say nothing. Local officials prove equally tight-lipped. China has just released this white paper defending its behaviour here. Through its proactive labour and employment policies, it says, Xinjiang has continuously improved the people's material and cultural lives and guaranteed their human rights in every field. The fields that many end up in are ones of cotton. But in July, a coalition of human rights groups estimated as many as 1 in 5 of the cotton garments sold worldwide had ties to forced labour practices in Xinjiang. Millions of others, so-called surplus rural labour, have been sent to work in factories here and across the country. When we try to find out more about who's employed at this one, we are stopped from filming yet again. The Chinese government says it is helping to de-radicalise the Uyghur people through education and work. Campaigners say what it's doing amounts to cultural genocide. On the surface, life here appears normal, and China insists journalists are welcome and the people are free. But we found obstruction, suspicion, and a culture and faith under heavy control.
Well, RTE, Ireland's television, asked the Chinese ambassador to Ireland to explain the role of the new vocational training centres seen in our film.
The vocational centre, we help those people to find a job, either in Xinjiang or even out of Xinjiang, in the rest part of China, to help them to get a job, to be employed, and to support their family and to live a better life. So we never forced anybody to work, because there's a huge project there in China that is to alleviation of poverty in all China. So nobody, our policy is that nobody should be left behind. Everyone, including every citizen in Xinjiang, has the legitimate right to live a better life.
So earlier I spoke to Aziz Isa Elkun, a London-based Uyghur academic and activist, and I started by asking for his reaction to the Chinese ambassador who said there was no Uyghur repression in China.
That's not true. This is the nature of Chinese embassy or ambassador keep lying about everything, even though there's a whole world approved there's a genocide taking place right now.
It's very, very difficult for us to get information out of the Uyghur region. Can you tell us what you know the Uyghurs are going through? I mean, I know your mother is still there, and tell us about her.
Yes, it's a very tragic story. And whenever I think my people, the Uyghurs, and especially about my mother, and I could not bear it. My mother now 78 years old, widowed. My father died in 2017. I found my father's tomb on Google Earth, and it was destroyed by the Chinese regime. And that was the reality of my family situation now.
Is it true that the Chinese authorities managed to get your mother to denounce you on television?
That's true. That's true. Yes, after I gave interview to CNN last year, and yes, they brought back my mother, brought in front of the TV, which is from Beijing to my home, probably about 4,000 kilometers away.
If you had the chance to speak directly to the Foreign Secretary, for example, what do you want the British to do about the Uyghur crisis?
I would like to ask British government has a responsibility, because British government is a member state of the United Nations Security Council. This is a human tragedy. We can call this a genocide taking place now. So British government must do save the innocent life. This is now, not now. I mean, we have been talking about 3 years ago, and I've been talking about this about 20 years ago. And you reported in 1997, Wulja, everybody knows, Channel 4 reported about the terrible the incident we can call the Wulja massacre in 1997. This is not something comes up today or yesterday. So Uyghur problem must be solved. Uyghur problem is about the world problem. We are part of the world community. There's no such a thing, Chinese internal affair. Uyghurs are part of human being, part of this world. The world must take responsibility to save Uyghurs' life.